Hello everyone, welcome to Awaken Hidden Truth or Beyond Planet Earth. Welcome Scotland Well, the author of the series Agenda book
And
and
others.
trilogy. Yeah.
Well, Perry and I were having fun for quite a while off the books, not recorded, dealing with journeys beyond what people on Earth call the void. Extremely rare, probably the most rare thing any being can ever experience in billions of lifetimes, is to have the awareness on some planet in some life where they actually go on the journey to return back to where they came from, which is beyond the lower planes of time and space. It is beyond what certain esoteric groups call the void, which is a barrier between the lower divisions of the multi-universe creation that work on different time rates of matter. They work with a twin energy, a positive and negative stream, like two poles of a battery, that always have a hidden energy around them, supporting them, that is not made of nuclear energy or atomic energy. It's not made of atoms, protons, neutrons, electrons. It's not made of any of that. It is the energy behind and supporting that. And that energy predominates the entire multidimensional creation, with little things floating in this huge energy we call galaxies. Little galaxies. Huge space between them is full of a golden white light, a living conscious energy. People pray to it all the time. It doesn't just exist between the planets and galaxies in space. It exists all the way up different dimensions, all the way past this thing we call the void and into the upper realities where it's pure positive. There is no negative nature there whatsoever. And you can't take physical bodies there. You have to leave the body on automatic, what we call the trance state, and go there as a spherically shaped atma or soul, because we're round. The doorway of this work was co-creatively given permission to begin to share this with an unconscious mass of people on planet Earth. They aren't one of these made in the image of God, as they are mistakenly taught. They are a spherical energy form, round, like planets and moons and suns and stars are round, patterned after the image of their creators, or their creator, if you like that better. And so it's round, and it runs bodies. Through the pineal gland, it runs a brain and nervous system. The intelligence of a being does not come from their brain at all. Neither does their emotions. That comes from bodies they're running on higher planes. They don't even know they have. They don't remember. They've been made to forget this. It's important to know this because if it's true, and it is, that means that all beings on Earth are responsible for running those astral, causal, mental, and etheric body forms, as one round being can run all five, including the physical body. And they're on these various divisions to learn how to use emotion correctly through the imagination, how to use cause and effect correctly through the imagination, how to use thought correctly through the imagination, how to connect beyond the void from the etheric level through the imagination and go back home. Because we're all destined to return to the source we came from one day, to be a trustworthy co-creator with that thing people worship called God. They put it on such a high pedestal, so far away from them, so removed, that they can never get to it. They're not meant to worship the source. They're meant to respect it. That is divine love. And they're meant to know how to respect each other and all life, not just life on Earth. The universe and the different dimensions of it is just monstrously big. And there's far more life out there, far more evolved in many areas on many levels than are on Earth today. And those beings are brothers and sisters. Those beings can help us here, save this world from destruction and turn it around. But it has to be brought to a point in raising the vibration of this planet where people on Earth will request it. And that's underway. That's part of real disclosure. It's not about just revealing that extraterrestrials exist on other planets. Come on, that's silly. Of course they do. How arrogant and egotistical and vain it is for people on Earth, out of fear, to think they're the chosen ones on Earth and nobody else matters off this planet to God. Really? They really think like that? Can't blame them. That's how they were brought up. It isn't true. And so people aren't really awake in the way they should be on Earth. Not yet. They're destined to be. They don't know that either. So when I share with people what you look like that isn't one of these and never has been, this can come and go, right? But the Atma is not made of matter. It's not nuclear or atomic material. It's power, it's energy. But it can't be destroyed by anything in the lower dimensions of time and space. Bodies can, but not the Atma. That's part of the source itself. And it's meant to be a co-creator with that source. Yeah, Perry.
We completely forgot, like you mentioned, we have other forms in the other planes too, like formal forms. I think nobody on Earth remember this, could know about this, we completely forgot all this. So,
Well, some people know about astral travel and they know about the astral body and that it's emotional, but they don't often know much more than that, way beyond that. That's just one part of them. Their emotion comes from a body they're running in a dimension, next major division up from the physical universe, that filters the emotions, which is the body there lives thousands of years. They get their emotion to use the imagination to move matter around from the life they're living there. It's channeled down into the physical body through what people call the chakric centers or the energy points. Basically, it's connected to the pineal gland, the center of the brain. The pineal gland is a multidimensional doorway faculty that has specific rods and cones tuned to different dimensions. So if you activate them and know what you're doing, you go through a point and end up in a certain location in the universe, but not you, the body. That stays on Earth. We usually put it in the trance state we call sleep. People put it in that state every night, like masters without knowing it, and they leave their body every night. They're terrified subconsciously to bring back awareness of where they're going, for the most part. That's part of subconscious brainwashing, implantation programming. And it was done to people before they were born on this planet. That has been changed out in the universe now. So that cannot be done to people. You're getting more people being born now with photographic memories and higher abilities. And they may not remember much that they still need to at this point. But it makes a greater channel of a certain type of pure energy that is not manipulatable by physical matter or beings to come here and change things, because only it can do that. The one sound behind all creation, the first omnipresent living force that people see in space, when they look at a Hubble telescope, they don't even know what they're looking at. They're looking at divine spirit, what they call divine spirit. They're looking at that black stuff, and all these little galaxies are floating in this huge void. But that's not empty energy. That's living, conscious energy. And to a being out of body looking at it, it looks like a white golden field of light everywhere with galaxies floating in it. They create a toroidal or electromagnetic field around whatever matter has been manifested there. And they're able to just float and have a place in this huge field of energy. That same energy that appears black to human eyes, which are too limited to see into a higher enough frequency to see it, till you get out of the body and see it, moves up through the dimensions all the way to that thing we call the void and way up into planes far above that. It is a multi-dimensional creation. In the physical universe alone, where we see Earth and the moon and the sun and the stars in telescopes, there's 144 parallel dimensions of that. It isn't infinite, it's a fixed number. But that's a lot of mind-boggling territory to travel in spaceships who have the technology to change their molecular time rate and visit these different worlds in these different levels, like different planet Earths and different molecular time rates that are different than the one you live on. And they trade and have associations with life on all those worlds in the physical universe before you even get to what people call the astral plane. Then there's 144 in that one. When you get into the area of the void above the etheric plane and you want to go up into the upper realities, you can only get there by being able to connect with a certain sound that is behind all other sounds. This is very important. If you can say ah, ooh, without moving the tongue, you can also say hue without moving the tongue. This is missing from most people's awareness. They want to travel beyond the void, they have to use this sound. It was set up that way in the beginning. It's not a mystery, it's not being hidden. Well, let's just say it's hidden in plain sight. The word human has the key hidden right in the first half of the word. People can't see it. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? You vibrates from here upward. Vibrates this area, sinus, throat, power center. The hue only vibrates the pineal gland upward because it's to connect people above the void, to get them to remember what they once knew and were made to forget under terrifying experiences since then. That is all reversible. So, Perry, when you do the hue now, you understand this, right? Because you've had experience with it.
Yes. And when I do the hue, many people, Thai people, ask me, wow, my tones, the tones, have changed, like with power. I don't know how to say, but they said that my tone has changed with
Oh,
a
of
very
course.
powerful.
And it will, because what you're connecting to this way has nothing to do with connecting to anything psychic. That is connecting with the split energies of positive and negative, good and bad in the different planes below the void, which is how energy works. We're not meant to be caught in one side or the other of it, which is what people on Earth are now, imagining good things and bad things both simultaneously. Good things for themselves and family, terrible fear about the present and future. And it goes out as an imagination into this omnipresent field of energy outside of Earth, connects to it, and it manifests both. And that traps people. So we're meant to learn how to use the imagination, which does not come from the human brain at all, correctly. We're here to learn how to co-create with the source properly. That's why we exist. We exist as beings on any plane and any bodies we're running to learn this lesson. And no one's getting out of nothing until they learn to cooperate in a constructive, uplifting way with the source power, the one energy behind all life. It isn't superior to us. It's not inferior to us. Neither are we to it. We are made as these spherical beings, our real shape, out of the same energy as the Supreme Being itself, identical in every way, on a smaller scale, like a drop of this pure energy, already pure, in a huge ocean of it, on all these levels. But it's one power, one energy that's around and in everything, including us. So when we start working consciously this way, we start having access to the genius of that. The IQ can't even be measured on Earth. It goes beyond 10,000. You can't even come close.
Agree.
So, you start thinking and imagining in ways that you couldn't even have conceived of before, because fear, subconscious fear, is keeping you from doing it. So one of the first things I do in my work, and the reason I came to this planet originally, was to help governments get along and accept help from outside. They turned it down. I was killed en route to this planet. A lot could have changed a long time ago had that mission succeeded. Things were different then. Since then, a lot of change has happened out in our galaxy amongst beings that work together in peace and harmony in hundreds of millions of world systems to motivate them to want to do something about the Earth problem. The people are the problem on Earth, not the planet. The people on Earth are misdirected, living in fear, making decisions based on fear, which is always incorrect and destructive every time without exception. So until people can make decisions collectively together based on mutual benefit of all life, they're going to be stuck in this problem. They would have already destroyed themselves. Life on Earth would have been ended after World War II. Shortly after World War II, it would have ended had beings not intervened to some degree to prevent nuclear war. At least they've done that much so far.
You said when you came here on Earth and then you get killed because you have things to do to change the planet Earth. This book is from your direct experience, right? And everyone, I would recommend you to read. And then when you read yourself, you can feel the energy run through you. You know, you could have your own experience by reading this book.
Thank you, Perry. That's true. The books are designed with wonderful friends that I trust and know well off-world. Some of them are what we call master teachers. Some of them are more advanced than master teachers. Some of them don't even have physical bodies. They're billions of years old. And some come from different dimensions and from different planets. There is a galactic alliance of world systems near the galactic core of the Milky Way galaxy that is virtually unknown to the UFO and extraterrestrial and disclosure communities yet, because it's not really been quite time. So there are a number of sub-cat organizations or smaller organizations of world systems that are part of this bigger system. But you got to get way past the Pleiades and all that stuff people have heard, way towards the center of the galaxy to really understand who these people are and what they are underway doing now that they've never done before. That is called the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds, and it's not a federation. It's okay to call it a federation. That comes from Star Trek, from Gene Roddenberry, basically. And he didn't invent it. It came from federations that were established on Earth. But you can call it whatever you want, and that's okay. But it's better to know it by its rightful name, interpreted in English, because Galactic Standard is spoken out there, not English. It's interesting to know that languages did not originate on planet Earth either. This is a real shocker for people trying to figure out the secret to life on Earth and where human beings came from. They didn't originally evolve on Earth in the first place. You're not going to find a Garden of Eden on Earth. You're not going to find original human beings evolving, springing out of the ground or changing from monkeys into people on Earth. That's theory. There's no proof for it whatsoever. But they teach what they teach in schools based on their best estimate by looking at evolution and trying to figure out where things might have come from. The problem with that thinking is the human beings did not originate on Earth. They were imported to this planet. And that history of importation goes back in histories people can't even imagine right now because they're afraid to remember it, basically. It goes back 65 million years to the end of the big dinosaurs. We didn't come from Cro-Magnon or Neanderthal either. Those are extinct humanoid species. So how did we get here? How did all the races represented on Earth today, who evolved in one atmosphere and one gravity, suddenly have all these differences? Black skin or dark skin in Africa, Semitic, Indian, African American, Caucasian, whatever you want, Aboriginal, short people, tall people, all different. They couldn't have possibly evolved in evolution in one atmosphere on one planet this way. They represent whole types of humanoid species that exist in whole planetary systems and other star systems, all Japanese looking, or all African American looking, or all Caucasian, like the Nordics, people call them. These are different types of humanoid races that have existed since before Earth could live on Earth, life could live on Earth. Then out there the universe is ancient. What's the lifespan of a single star? 4 billion, 8 billion, 10 billion years more? So people, because of their, let's say in our current culture, because they've been deprived knowing the truth about life beyond Earth under a classified system. That classified system was never meant to be permanent. And it will not be. No matter what anybody on Earth thinks of it. They think they have power. They think they own the land here. They think they possess mansions and money. That's an illusion. They don't possess anything. Their life, when it ends suddenly and unexpectedly, they can't take any of it with them, not even their body. The only thing they take with them is the awareness, what they're aware of. And if they're in fear, they take fear with them and recreate being born unconscious in another body. It's very simple. What's changing out in the universe has to do with changing a destructive Armageddon for Earth into something unexpected. Past prophesied destructive things for Earth are changing. Who are we to tell the source behind all life it can't change its mind? What kind of arrogance do we think we have that we can tell God where to get off with this? That's silly. It's people on Earth creating the evil that they experience through fear. That's it. You remove the artificial creation of fear because it wasn't put in people on Earth. And people begin to remember what their purpose for existing is. And they start to go about doing it. But not based on making decisions on fear of the present and future. That's only destructive. So we go into the you, and what happens is, it doesn't matter what religion or cult or philosophical or esoteric path or religion you're involved with on Earth. You start working with the one sound behind creation, and it'll begin to change anything that is not true that keeps a person from waking up and being aware of why they exist. It begins to get rid of that stuff. It becomes a teacher for us. It becomes an omnipresent power that begins to guide us according to how we're willing to imagine in new ways. Because if we imagine constructive new things and we discipline ourselves to do it and we learn how to do this, our world changes, our consciousness changes, and we begin to contribute to vast numbers of beings who are already moving in energy through our solar system to change this planet, whether we like it or not. Because people on Earth do not have the free will they should have, and they're making destructive decisions. And they do not have the right on Earth to destroy themselves and harm life they don't even know exists in parallel dimensions on Earth or out in space. We do not have that right. We never have had that right. So people in classified arenas have been told they have to disclose. And if they don't do it by a certain point, it will be done for them to everybody on Earth. And that will put the leaders on this planet in a very embarrassing situation and not one they can get out of. So they've been told they have to disclose for their own good. Look, if we want to play in space, nothing wrong with that. If we want to do travel beyond the speed of light and have the technology to enjoy that and have genomes that are turned off on our DNA turned on, which is just done originally by the misuse of science, which can be corrected. If people on Earth want to play among the stars, you're going to, tough if you don't like it, we're going to have to get used to working with hundreds of millions of spacefaring races in a collective harmony, or they're not going to allow us to do it. Ever. Never. The problem is not them. The most dangerous, destructive beings in the universe right now are on Earth. That's the problem. But think of it this way. In all the times they've been coming here, especially since people were setting up, thermonuclear hydrogen bombs with radioactive elements spreading all over the Earth and our own atmosphere, wouldn't that draw your attention? Wonder why some insane people are setting this stuff off in their own atmosphere, not even for war, just to play with it? knowing it would have negative radioactive effects on all life. That's what brought them here more prominently than before that time. And yet in all that time, they've not invaded. They've not retaliated when their ships are shot at. They could have blasted every military on this earth to oblivion in 10 seconds from space and been done with this foolishness. They don't have patience. It's not that they're impatient, but they don't tolerate this kind of behavior out in space, which means it doesn't matter what China thinks or its leader or Putin or the head of the United States. It doesn't matter what they think, that they're going to go out and fight each other over the spoils of space. No, they're not. They're never going to have that kind of future because space is already occupied by more advanced races. We need to learn how to live in peace with them and respect them. They've already respected us on Earth far beyond what we deserve. I'll say that again. Beings collectively from other worlds have respected us far more than we respect ourselves. And people on Earth don't even know how to respect each other very well, much less people from other worlds. But they are going to have to learn this. To survive, they're going to have to learn it whether they like it or not. True disclosure isn't just about revealing to people there's spaceships out there with humans and other races coming here that can get around the universe. It's about helping people remember what they are that has never been a physical body in the first place. Duh. When you're awake, it's like, what? How could I have forgotten something so simple and so innately knowable? When you go to a certain point, there's no ladder you can climb on, spiritually speaking, to leap back to the source from whence we came. You have to actually leap into a finer energy that is not made of matter at all. That energy that supports everything we see around us exists between and above and around all things, including in and around the beings we are that are spherically shaped. So if I show you this book, and I show you this rainbow-colored sphere of light with these little teardrops that make up these different layers, it's spherical. And as you see these characters on the front cover of this Emerald Doorway book, she's got blue skin. She's a human Caucasian. Well, she's not Caucasian, but she's a human woman from another planet. It's a master teacher named Ramu. There's Etta. He's a silica-based Dren creature that can defy gravity and fly through the air. Did not evolve on Earth. And this little guy is a master teacher, and he's cute as heck. And it exemplifies all the best qualities of human being, and he's not even human. There's a Caucasian human male, not from Earth. This master is introducing them to a being we call the Ancient One, or the Source, Prime Creator, Supreme Being. What they don't know, these three at this point, is that they have one of these hovering above their head. And it's identical to this one, but a smaller scale. And this is a doorway to an area above the void. This is this guy's ship hovering stationary in space. And there's hovering on disks, anti-gravitic disks above what is new land masses that have formed after the poles of this planet flipped over, destroying what is known as Atlantis, which was a big colony continent, and the bigger continent, Lemuria. This is 100,000 years ago. What remained after that, and these new land masses rose up, was a volcanic island that became the seafaring power that people call Atlantis, that was destroyed through the misuse of science 35,000 years ago. So there's deeper history to all of this. This is about extraterrestrial involvement on Earth and in our solar system more than 100,000 years ago that ties to present time on Earth.
I don't know if, okay, go ahead, please.
This book is about present time, out in space, in other dimensions, how it's changing, that is changing the destructive destiny of Earth. Because if they don't do it, Earth people will annihilate themselves. For sure, they will. So something has to intervene in that, or we're done. Bodies can be destroyed. You don't die, but your bodies are gone. You got to get another one. So this is where we're at right now. Earth can become a spacefaring planet, but not by rocket ships with gas coming out the rear end. You can't travel any distance in space that way with that technology. So I wanted to make that clear too.
Yeah, I like to add this up. The Ambassador Torolian is written in this book, and Master Ramu also written on this book. What I want to say is each time when we go on the journey, Scotland will always say that Master Ramu Torolian always leads us on the journey. So which means that they exist even nowadays, you know. So it's not like just the book. This book has a real master being that working on for him to be able to finish writing this book. Okay, I don't know if you understand.
Well, there's two other books that's book 2 in the Parallel Time trilogy. Melina, same as on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway. A little more present. You can see what they look like because you're only seeing them from the back in the front cover of the Emerald Doorway. And then the third book is Journey to the Center of the Universe. That is a woman named Melina swimming under the ocean towards a domed city at the bottom of the ocean on Oceania. It's another planet in our galaxy. And this isn't about a journey to the physical universe. This is a bad guy. It's about what happens to him when he's taken all the way to the source, because it is a journey to the center of the multidimensional universe. So those are what those 4 books were published. They were published to be doorways for transformative change. The power that makes that change is quite beyond me. Torolian serves as a central focal point on these journeys. I guide them. Torolian helps guide them. Master teachers help guide them. They're beings that I trust, and they trust me. So we go on these journeys in order to help people remember that they have the capability to experience such things, even if they don't believe it. The purpose of the books and the purpose of this work is one point. That is to help people remember who they are that is not one of these fully. And the point of that is to help bring about a transformation for this planet so it can become a spacefaring world amongst so many others. But it is never going to be that. We are never going to be allowed to take this petty, childish, fear-driven crap that leaders on Earth are perpetuating, including religions out in space, and project it, throw it up, and vomit it on their people. They are far more advanced than we are, and they're never going to tolerate it. So Earth and its planetary system are quarantined. It means they're being policed by outside to keep us from destroying ourselves, and also to keep tyrants from coming back to Earth because they had been removed. They were not removed by our classified military or industrial complex. They were removed another way. It just makes it possible for Earth to go through an unexpected transformation, because without their help, we will not survive this. Make it clear, people on Earth are going to have to become very aware of this in the near future, which is part of what disclosure is. It's not about running people's lives or depriving them of freedoms. It's about helping them know how to work with each other on Earth and with people from other worlds. It's a simple, common sense thing. When fear is removed, common sense remains. When I go on these journeys, did you want to say something, Perry?
I just want to say, Master Ramu, many Thai people experience Master Ramu and Master Torolian, you know, many of them. So you just have to go on the journey and experience by yourself, you know.
No, that's what takes us time to get to this point. People go, why doesn't he get to it? How come we're not already going? People are unfortunately brainwashed on Earth to be mindlessly entertained. They want everything to be done for them without them having to do a thing to get it. They want miracles they haven't earned. They want God to save them when they don't show this source that they are trustworthy to be given that freedom. And then they don't get it and they wonder why. Well, for people on Earth to experience on a planetary scale the wonders of technology and spirituality that exist out in the greater God, which is beyond Earth, period, most of it, then they're going to have to start living in a big universe, not just on Earth, because that's where the greater omnipresent living power and energy of the source, prime creator, is. Tough luck if they don't like it or don't believe it. It'll mow them right down. That energy coming through this solar system is going to sweep through this planet one day. And we hopefully will be prepared to embrace it. Because otherwise people are going to go through some quite tremendous change. And it's going to scare the dickens out of most of them, but they won't destroy them. It's not meant to be destructive. People are capable of doing that all on their own on Earth. We don't need any help from outside to be destructive. But we do need help from outside to stop being that way. I mentioned earlier that there is a word hidden in a certain vibratory way of connecting to the source energy, which basically means we connect directly to the energy coming above the void, from above it. Beyond the worlds of time and space, duality and negative and positive currents, we connect into an energy that is behind all that, supporting it. And since it is not made of time and space or matter, not limited by the speed of light or gravity, or dark holes or black holes in the center of galaxies, which scientists now know aren't black at all, physical eyes just can't see it. The vibration's too high. So in order for us to tune into that energy that comes from the source and supports everything, including us, then we have a certain key that accesses that door. Simple as that. It's not my power. I don't own the hue. Nobody does. Anybody on Earth claims they possess the hue and it's only their right to distribute it, they are in trouble, serious trouble. Because it is the omnipresent one power, living energy in the whole universe, and no one can possess it, own it, patent it, copyright it, or anything like that. It will not be possessed by anybody. It's like grabbing air. There's nothing there. First half of the word human is hue. Hue, I can make that sound without moving my tongue. And it is way beyond the three other sounds we can make with the human mouth. And it connects to a sound that isn't even physical. We connect as a spherical being to be able to see and hear it more vividly than you hear sound or see light on Earth. And when we begin to do that, things change for us. So we go on these journeys. As brief as they are, they have a great deal revealed in them about deliberately hidden truth. When I say deliberately hidden, I mean that it was done to you without your permission before you were born, and it is reversible. What matters in these journeys is that some people that go on them and have the courage to do so, I don't care if they're the head of the whole classified community on the planet, whoever they are, leaders of countries, leaders of religions, gurus, it doesn't matter. This is only for their benefit. It's not about money or power, fame or fortune. Can't take any of that with you anyway. But what we can take with us when this body stops working is where we've been and what we know, not believe, what we know from direct experience. That determines where we go. What is most important is that people do not attempt to take fear of the unknown with them when their body ceases to function, because fear is negative and it will attract them to similar conditions they have on Earth now. When I send out the hue, I do it on a number of levels, not just with me alone, but by friends from out of town, meaning off world, to help set up a vortex of doorways so that we can travel from the physical universe out in space above the atmosphere of the planet, outside of its negative influence, and then journey in this pure hue without the limits of the speed of light or gravity upon us whatsoever. And then we can go wherever we will. When we're in this one energy out in space like this, you cannot store negative thoughts and emotions in it. It will not be recorded there. They get left back on Earth, turned off, with your body, which naturally goes into the trance state we call sleep. The same thing you put in it every night when you put that body to sleep. You need to be aware and tell yourself right now, for your own good, that you are exploring the universe beyond Earth every single night, even if you've been too terrified to bring back to that Earth body and consciousness where you've been and what you've been doing when you wake it up in the morning. This kind of training is not given to people on Earth. It just isn't. It will be at some point worldwide. And people will remember. And as they remember, they will know things with certainty. They will leap from faith into direct knowing experience, which is what they're meant to do. Believing and praying to some supreme being is not the same thing as going there and experiencing it. Not the same thing at all. I will send out these tones now. Understand that if you choose to imagine someone you love and respect and you're grateful they're in your life, a person, place, or thing, make sure it's genuine so it makes you smile inside or makes you feel warm inside. And that opens a doorway through the pineal gland in the center of the human brain. This means it's opening a doorway so you can bring back more conscious awareness of where you go and what you do when you are outside of that body, operating beyond the earth. And you're doing it in conscious awareness while your body is asleep. It goes into this naturally through daydreaming. Everybody on earth can daydream. That's the simplest thing we do when we just imagine going to the store, and then you get in a car and go to the store. But first, the imagination, and it does not come from your brain. There's nothing in the brain that has a motion picture camera projecting images on a movie screen for you to see. The brain is not designed to do that anyway. That's not its purpose. You, the real spherical being, the Atma, soul, sees into this one field of energy and sees what it wants to see, wherever it may be located. And this is where people get their ability to write about other planets and make movies. They're not getting it from the brain and personality they grew up with on Earth because it wasn't taught to them in school. It wasn't ever in that brain. Understand this. When you imagine someone that you're fond of, even respectful, could be Jesus, could be Buddha, could be anybody, Allah, doesn't matter. As long as you know it's a heart energy involved with it, then this doorway will open for anyone. There's a certain protection that goes along with working with the you that vibrates only the cranium upward. What's important is not the words I say, but your own experience with it, which is the purpose of my work. I'll begin those tones now. You, not moving the tongue. You. 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 Daydream. Simple. You are floating near the ceiling where you live, looking at your body. You just imagine it like you do when you daydream going to the beach and you're in a classroom. You want to go to a ski trip on the weekend and you imagine it ahead of time. It's simple. It's effortless. You just look what it looks like to see your body there, sitting in a chair, laying down with the eyes closed. Hopefully the eyes are closed because that shuts off all input of current and energy from the physical planet into your brain. That part of the brain is turned off when you close your eyes. Simple as that. And then another vision opens up if you're aware of it. So you can see into the multiverse and know things. We begin to plug into an omnipresent, meaning it's everywhere, omniscient, omnipotent, living power. It is not a personal power like a being that can get on an ego trip. It is an omnipresent, supportive, living energy that supports and sustains the entire multidimensional creation. We are comprised of the very same energy as individualizations of it in spherical form. You are a spherical being radiating your room with light. You can see through the walls of your house in this form. Matter doesn't keep you from seeing through it. You can see the terrain that's around where you live. You know what it looks like. Only now look at it from 10,000 feet up in the air. Look down over the city, the house where you are. Look at the roof. You can see that you are a spherical being hovering in the atmosphere. And you can see you are also a spherical being hovering near the ceiling above your body back on Earth. The Atma, the real you, is not limited. You can be in multiple places at one time, running physical forms. This is one of the deeper secrets of who and what we are. Be in space. That's right, be in outer space. Just imagine it. You are out in space, above the Earth. You can see the moon. We're far enough out. You can see the moon in an orbit around the planet. It's barren, meteor craters. It does not turn on its axis at all. It always shows the Earth people the same face. So the dark side of the moon is the other side we don't see, but it's not dark. It passes in front of the sun too. So if you want to do something hidden in space, a secret space program, you work it from the backside of the moon where no one can see what you're doing. Not radio telescopes, not astronomical telescopes, optical telescopes. The moon is not a natural state. It's virtually impossible for a single sphere to be circling a planet without turning at all on its axis. It is influenced gravitationally by Earth, the sun, the moon, the stars, the other planets, and yet our moon does not turn at all. Most unnatural. That is something that will be fixed in the future. You can see the polar ice caps and the oceans and the land masses. You can see our yellow sun. You can see billions of stars all around us in every direction. You don't feel heat or cold. You do not feel radiation from the sun. You are a spherical energy being that is beyond, not vulnerable to the effects of matter, energy, space, and time. Those are fixed and finished states in the lower worlds of time and space, but you are not a fixed and finished state. You are an energy that comes from a source far above what people call the void, many dimensions above here. Now in space, when you look at those stars, you realize they are beautiful blue and yellow and red, orange in color. Big blue, white, young blue, white stars, young stars, big yellow suns, much bigger than ours, and giant red world suns and little red dwarfs and colors in between. And you can see them clearly. But what you see around you out in space here is a white golden light. It's not black like you see in Hubble's Space Telescope printed images. Physical human eyes on Earth, with problems with the DNA they have in their twin strands, cannot see into a high enough frequency to see what that black space really looks like. It isn't black at all, and it's packed, jam-packed, full of energy. There are scientists on Earth today that know that is energy. It's not empty, it's not a vacuum. It's not oxygen, but it's not a vacuum. It is that energy between all things that float in it that must be harmoniously worked with in order to go beyond the speed of light, understand gravity, anti-gravitic engines, and propulsion systems, and how they move around, and how we go through different doorways between different parallel dimensions to get across the universe. All of those secrets become revealed to races when they begin to work respectfully in harmony with that one power. And until people on Earth do that, they will not have free use of it, ever. You can feel a rumbling under your feet, and you look down and you realize, wait a minute, you're a spherical luminous being that's lighting up space. And you're in a circle of other beings. I'm there, Perry's there, other beings are there, master teachers are here. And there's a being standing in the center of the circle of us around him named Master. Well, he is a master teacher, but he's known as Ambassador Terrellian of the Seres human race. SERES is pronounced as if it was phonetically spelled out SAY-RAYS, Seres. They're human at one time, over 1 billion Earth years ago. And their whole race immortalized their bodies by dematerializing the DNA strands, the genomes, the program of the DNA, storing it in a little teardrop of energy, a faculty, in one of the layers of their being, like what I showed you on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book, which is what we really look like as an Atma, what beings from other worlds call soul, people on Earth call soul, they call it Atma, that they have an actual understanding of what it is, what it looks like, and what to go do with itself. In space, we are floating in an omnipresent field of life-giving energy. It is not made of nuclear material. It is not atomic in nature. It goes beyond the rules and the realms of Einstein and physics and all that time-space theory, which applies to matter, energy only. There is no limit to the speed of light. That is a concept which has bound people to the earth. It doesn't have a limit, except in the limits of how people's physical eyes can detect it. But actually, there is no such limit. Science on Earth is changing dramatically. Now, the Big Bang Theory may be thrown out because as greater telescopes reach deeper than Hubble, they're finding out that that theory doesn't necessarily apply anymore. Which means they're beginning to understand a greater universe outside of Earth. That's all. And this information is coming to certain people from outside this planet to assist them to make change away from limiting and entrapping concepts to unlimited ones. This rumbling under your feet is like thunder, but it's pleasant. It's the sound this one golden white light energy out in space makes that you see when you're out of your body and can see it. Turelian is 18 feet tall. He's showing you an 18-foot tall body. Because the Sayrays were human, yes, prototypes of what we are, the original. They have 12-stranded DNA, not 2. So a billion years ago, they were able to energetically take apart the DNA and store its structure in a little teardrop in one of the layers of what they are as an atma, spherical. And when they want to mock it up to show us, or actually walk on a planet with a physical form temporarily for some reason, they'll draw the one power that's around them, the hue, into this form and materialize a body on the spot. And when they're done, they dematerialize and store it. They do not have the burden of pushing around a solid physical body that needs to eat and go to the bathroom. And they help design the DNA that we are long ago in galactic history. And many of the other spacefaring races have Sayrays DNA, not just human. Long ago, they helped races grow up and become spacefaring, long before life was on Earth. Long before. And then they disappeared in the background to see what people would do with it. I think it's clear what we've done with it. It's pathetic. It's not just bad, it's pathetic. What was done to people that's made them forget was not done to them on Earth, so they cannot be blamed. And blame is not the point of any of this. Full disclosure about life beyond Earth and other dimensions and other worlds is coming to this planet, whether people on it like it or not, because it's the only way they'll survive it. There is no other way. It's a good thing we're not alone in the universe, or everybody on Earth would now be dead and gone. Period. People running governments here and religions cannot continue to make decisions based on fear and not expect anything but an Armageddon out of it. Because they're creating it, not some supreme being somewhere. If beings in the universe who are part of that supreme being want to intervene in this planet to save it, they can do that, because Earth people don't have the right and will never have the right to destroy themselves and harm billions of life forms they don't even know exist in other parallel dimensions and out in space. We don't have that right. And we're not going to be given that right, fortunately. If people had true free will awakened and could make decisions uninfluenced by fear on planet Earth, there would be no war on this planet. No disagreements, no misunderstanding. Just the passionate drive to create new ways of doing things for the benefit of all, not just life on Earth. Out here in space, in this one energy, you begin to remember this, what you were made to forget. We get outside the inner atmosphere of Earth because it's just packed full of negative emotions and deeds and thoughts that people have created since life began on that planet, was imported to the planet, and it's been stored within the atmosphere, bouncing off the ionosphere like a radio wave. And people are surrounded by that every day. So that kind of thing needs to be neutralized so the atmosphere is clean of negative influences. This goes with groundwater, earth, dirt, mountains, rocks, trees. It doesn't matter. There is one electromagnetic toroidal field that surrounds the planet. And there's one type of omnipresent energy that feeds and supports that field. The same field exists around the entire galaxy. The same field exists around you as a spherical being. The same field exists around the physical body you have, you call the aura. But it isn't just thin around the body shaped like it. It's like an electromagnetic field. And it's in that field where implants are stored that affect and misdirect people. It's through that field that they've been compelled to look as the Atma running that body, to look at the universe and the source behind all life with terror and fear. People pray to it to get favors every day. But the real secret is not about praying to it. That's a beginning. It's imagining the right way in it, because it is telepathic, not psychic, not putting down psychic, anything I'm saying. Positive and negative energies in the lower worlds of time and space misuse trapped beings in bodies to planets. The real energy out there that supports all that is not material, atomic, or nuclear. And it does not store negative things. We start working with that out in space, free from the influences of Earth's surrounding atmosphere. We begin to make real progress. Terrellian showing you an 18-foot tall body with slightly wavy blonde hair to his shoulders, slightly pointed ears like an elf, big crystal clear blue eyes, looks like about a 36-year-old Greek god in a type of a gown with bare feet. It's just showing you a form that he had once over 1 billion years ago before it was dematerialized and stored. That's one form of immortalization of a body. That isn't where the body lives forever, but it can be manifested as needed whenever it is needed and then stored. He serves as an example for us to understand what our future is, where we're headed, what our destiny is. We are meant to run at least 4-stranded DNA human bodies. And we're meant to be able to evolve as beings to run properly 8 and 12-stranded DNA bodies. They're designed to allow higher faculties of the Atma to be run through the nervous system and brain. It was never meant that we were meant to be suffering from the illusion of being trapped in bodies as bodies. We have never been a body now, nor will we ever be one. You might as well get used to it, because life on Earth in a body is short, and then you're forced to confront all this anyway. The hue opens a doorway in a safely protected manner, enabling the individual to begin to co-creatively act and put in the effort to recover and remember what they were made to forget before they were born on Earth, while they're still alive, running a body. Out here in space, in this one energy, truth cannot elude you. It cannot be kept from you. There are other beings here present. If you look above Terrellian, his 18-foot tall body, you'll see a spherical Atma hovering there. The real Terrellian is that, not the body he's showing you. And then you look around across this circle of beings. There's quite a few dozen here. Just Perry and I are just one. I'm standing beside Terrellian to his right side, and Perry's over to the left side, and we're just simply looking at a group of people that are on this journey now from Earth and from other planets. And there's a few here that will be on that journey when they review this recorded event Perry will put on our YouTube channel. Time and space is not a relevant factor. Master Ramu, standing on the circle with us around Terrellian, is about 6 feet tall with a short cropped curly black beard, short curly black hair, swarthy skin, kind of dark brown. Looks like he might be Tibetan, but he's not from Tibet. Maroon robe, simple sandals, holding a crystal staff in his right hand, about 6 foot tall, made of quartz. It is a device. He's showing you the pure energy form of it here. And it has on the top what is called, it like in Egypt, an ankh with a cross with a vertical oval hole with a hole in it. And it has 2 other crystals that are rectangular and faceted that fit into the eye of that symbol. And it's a device designed to take a student all the way to the source behind all life when they're prepared. And he is the custodian of this one device. It was given to him by Source itself as a custodian or caretaker of it. He has a physical body. He's immortalized differently than Turelian in that it doesn't age. It's a physical body that he normally hangs out in a place called Agam Des. It is in the third higher parallel dimension at a higher molecular time rate on an Earth that you don't normally see or are aware of in the Himalayas. But it's not in the Earth Himalayas, it's in a mountain range in a higher level. And he can come between that place on missions to the second higher parallel dimension or to Earth itself and walk around and be unseen. Or he might be walking down the street with a suit on and you wouldn't even know it was him. There's another master teacher named Opelum. He's from a planet called Oceania, which is on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy, third higher parallel dimension out of 144 in our physical Milky Way galaxy. And he comes from a world that is mostly water covered, 4 times bigger than Earth, few islands near the equator, and dome cities with 3 golden-sided quartz-capped pyramids in each one, and dome cities at the bottom of their ocean, and transport tubes between them. It has 3 moons circling it the size of Earth. None of them have polar ice caps. Life is on all of them. And those 3 moons and its main planetary body circle in orbit around a trinary sun system. This means there is a giant blue-white star in the center, a smaller yellow sun, and a red dwarf further out. So this planetary system circles what's called a trinary sun system. Many or most of the star systems in our Milky Way galaxy are binary or trinary, not like our single sun soul. And so the effect this has on life on these worlds is quite different, gravitationally and in every other way. Opelum, standing to the right of the circle around Turelian, is about 6 feet, smooth jet black, glistening hair to his shoulders, emerald green eyes, pale blue skin like moonstone. And he's holding up his right hand. You can see little webs between his fingers. He lifts his neck. There's 3 little gill slits that you wouldn't have noticed otherwise. But this species, this human species, is very ancient. He has a mortalized body. It actually lives on that planet Oceania. He gets around in ships. But here, if you look above Opelum, he's a spherical being hovering, running this body. It's made of pure energy. He's showing you what he looks like. So is Turelian. So is Ramu. And when you look, you notice that you are a spherical being hovering in a circle around Ambassador Turelian, and you are projecting a pure physical body form that looks like you, about 36, male or female, whichever you are, but it's perfect, flawless, handsome, beautiful, dressed well, trim, not like you are on Earth. And this is how we represent each other to each other in the pure form. This is a telepathic meaning. We don't work with the lower energies of positive and negative here. We work with the pure telepathic energy of the hue itself. First sound, first primordial energy, the one power supporting the entire multidimensional creation. And we are comprised of this same energy as individual beings. This is where we begin our journeys outside Earth's atmosphere for obvious common sense reasons. The sound under our feet, standing in this light, bare feet where you can feel it, is like soothing, rumbling thunder, sound of the physical universe. The light around us and between Turelian and each of us and all around Earth, the moon, the sun, the stars, and other galaxies out in space is a white golden light. It's such energy that you can clearly see the planets and the suns and stars in it. This is the normal way we have of operating as beings beyond physical form. Those physical bodies remain in a trance state called sleep. This doesn't mean you won't hear a truck go by or your ears won't hear something. But understand that that body, during this journey, is in the trance state we call sleep. Same way you put it in when you leave it every night when you go to sleep. It is not you that goes to sleep, by the way. It is the brain and body that is put on automatic. Heart, lungs, everything works normally while you're gone. There's an unbreakable connection between the pure you, which is not made of physical matter, energy, space, and time, and that body that keeps it running while you're away. They cannot be severed by demons and ghouls or negative energies of any kind. It's not a silver or a golden cord between your astral body and your physical body. It is quite beyond all of that. Being just in space around such beings and being introduced to them makes a great deal of change in a person's individual experience because they've never imagined such things before. Pretty much I could say that safely. Most people have never done so. And are taught it on Earth. Why should they think this way? We are meant as beings to imagine exploring the entire multidimensional creation and experiencing it firsthand. We are required by the Supreme Source, Source Energy, Prime Creator, to understand, acknowledge, and respect all life in the multidimensional universe, not just life on Earth. That's silly. So we have to be able to respect and imagine a greater God if we expect to embrace such. Now, don't we? Common sense. It doesn't care what religion you're in, as long as what you do is genuine and that you really have love and respect for all life when you're practicing it. But most importantly, it's essential that people go from faith and leap in direct experience so they can know things for themselves with certainty and not be in doubt and fearing. Out in space, this is the purpose why we make these journeys, for this reason. To gain mastery over fear and terror, mastery over the present and the future, to become co-creators in benevolent ways with the source behind all life. If you don't like the way Earth is, bitching about it will not change it one bit. We have to help change it with vast hosts of beings from beyond Earth. If we want it to change, we can do this. We're going to go again, as we've done before, to a ship that's stationed in the ice rings that circle the planet Saturn in our solar system for a purpose. Terrellian's going to point out in space past the moon. And when he does so, you're going to see a vortex open. It's a horizontal vortex. Looks like an hourglass, open front end, and it looks like blue-green water circling clockwise. You can see it narrows in the middle and then widens on the other end. And on the other end, it's like you're looking through a telescope right in space, and you can see the planet Saturn with its rings. There is a man and a woman standing next to each one of you from the Galactic Alliance. It's not a federation. They're from the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds, centered near the galactic core of the Milky Way, not in it, near it. That planet is called Zetranami 1. We aren't going there now. We're going to visit with those beings on a spaceship that's over a mile long, has an antigravitic blue energy field around it, so that ice chunks in that make up the rings of Saturn don't hit it, and it floats there stationary. Terrellian is moving towards that opening, and we're in a circle like planets around the sun are moving with him. The man and the woman from the Galactic Alliance standing to each one of you is simply there to assist keeping your negative fears turned off with the sleeping body on Earth while we make this journey. It's for your benefit. They're highly trained and know what they're doing and very capable. They do not invade your private thoughts. They're not there for that. They don't care about that. They actually get uplifted whenever they can help an Earth human be free from fear, even temporarily. And then we move through into this hourglass opening that's whirling. It looks like luminous blue-green water. You can hear the sound of thunder rumbling around us, but it's not frightening. It's soothing. No lightning. And as we come into the center of this hourglass tube, you can see stars all around on the other side of it. It's transparent. And Terrellian and all of us in a circle around him, we look like the size of a dime compared to a dinner plate, right in the center. And then we go further through this opening and find ourselves suddenly hovering on the other side of it, and it vanishes behind us. And we're looking down, and we see a mile-long ship. And it's underneath the surface layer of ice chunks that make up, which is water, frozen water, makes up the rings about 1.5 miles thick that circle the planet Saturn, big gas giant. It has a bridge control room in front with windows. You can see crew moving around in there. And on the other end that you can't see, there's another identical bridge control room on the other end. It's cylindrical, cigar-shaped with this kind of a flattened top. And around the circumference of the center of the craft are these horizontal, 4 foot wide, 6 foot wide, something like that, convex, pointing outward, curved windows, and there are view portals that circle the circumference of the ship. And we are hovering in a circle as beings around Terrellian, approaching this craft. There are 3 spacecraft about 30 feet in diameter with a blue antigravitical light around them and 3 semispheric pods in their bottom hull, clear blue glass-like top to them. These are very modern, recently used and built and used now in the Galactic Alliance. And they're moving towards the central section of the hull we can see. You can see the ship on the front cover of the Savior's Agenda book because it's permanently stationed for now in our solar system. And these ships, as they approach the hull, brighten and they become transparent. They've raised their molecular time rate. They've increased the energy field of the electromagnetic field, the toroidal field around the craft, and they're moving through the molecules of the hull harmlessly, moving right through it, and you can see an opening in it, and then they lower their vibration, they become solid, and you see them land next to several dozen others in a long soccer stadium-sized hangar bay. They don't have open portals to enter these ships. Then the next 2 ships go through the same process, and the hull looks solid again. And we're moving as a group around Terrellian to the right side of the front end of this bridge control window area, about 1/3 of the way back. And you can see several of these horizontal view portals. We're going to move right through them, just like the ships did. And then you look around you and you realize that Terrellian is standing 18 feet tall behind you in plush blue carpet. It's 60 foot high and hundreds of feet long, and we're in a observation lounge aboard what is called the Emerald Star Cruiser, a smaller of much longer ones. Some are 10 miles long. This one's a mile, has about 300 crew on it, sometimes more. They're from different member world systems of the Galactic Interdimensional Alliance of Free Worlds. Remember, these are world systems in parallel dimensions, not just the physical worlds you see in telescope images, because you don't even see worlds. They're not, telescopes aren't developed enough to show you them close up. But we are standing, if you look down, your feet, your bare feet will be wiggling your toes in plush, glowing blue carpet. It's soothing. There's a humming sound coming from it, but it's pleasant. And Terrellian's standing up in this long chamber, and you can see 300 of the ship's personnel standing around oval blue glass top tables, and some of them are sitting in egg-shaped white chairs with blue cushions. They are humanoid, male and female, tall and short, pale blue skin, green skin, snake-like eyes, other types of beings, big, tall lion-type being with big hair, big arms, retractable claws, warrior class spacefaring race called Pashats. They're part of the Galactic Alliance. These are beings who are friendly. These are beings who work as crew members aboard this ship. They have no problem getting along with each other. Tyrant beings that were coming to Earth in smaller numbers up until World War II and causing problems, programming certain people, have been removed from our solar system, from our Earth, from laboratories. They're gone. They aren't there anymore. It wasn't the classified military industrial complex personnel or hidden government, classified government that took them out of here. That was done by the Galactic Alliance, so Earth would have a chance to change direction. These beings will approach each one of you at a respectful distance, and then they'll begin to talk with you telepathically, which means you, standing in this perfect-looking 36-year-old body with the Atma you are hovering above it, can hear them, and you can speak with them without even moving your lips. There's a couple sitting in the big table, standing up. They've often met people I brought here on these journeys, Turellian, and they are a man and woman about 30-ish to 40, about 6 feet tall, human, Caucasian, in this case, on this ship. And they are the co-commanders of this craft. They remain in our solar system to do two things: protect beings from other worlds from the misdirected, disastrously negative, fear-driven nature of human beings on Earth attempting to go into space and destroy things. They will not tolerate that. And they're here to keep certain races that are totalitarian, that are now being transformed or changed out in the universe, outside of our solar system. So Earth is a quarantined solar system. The threat is not from outside. The threat to all life is the beings on Earth trying to get outside. The way they are will not be tolerated. This just means that life on Earth has to change in significant ways, unexpected ways, in order to be invited to be part of a galactic alliance of world systems. We are destined to do this. Earth people with suppressed awareness don't remember how they got to Earth, where they came from before this life, why they exist, or what their purpose for existing really is all about. That needs to be awakened in people on Earth so that these beings can come and land and befriend people on Earth and help change the technology, the pollution in the world, provide us with energy and forms, cures for diseases, and all that is simple stuff for them. I'm trying to get across to you. Here in this ship, this man and woman are telling you telepathically that the understanding of the codes of the genomes on DNA is known, well known to them. They don't have cancer. They don't have disease. That is a simple, very ancient stuff they saw. Anti-gravitic ships, the ability to move beyond the speed of light between parallel dimensions and other world systems, even other galaxies, is very ancient to them. When they make this available for people on Earth, it will be at no charge, no cost. We have to be worthy and respectfully capable of accepting it. I will remain in silence while some of the beings just circulate, like being, in a coffee lounge, or just chit-chatting, just talking with you. The man and woman that came with each of you are also standing on the carpet from the Galactic Alliance. They can be called upon later to help you remember more of what you were made to forget, if you ask them. Shantial, Tonatial, Dantiam, and Lamtiam are the two human couples from the Pleiadian area, beyond those seven sisters, actually, and many others, so that each one of you on this journey, or that will go on this journey, can make contact with them and be benefited when you leave your body every night, when you put the body to sleep. This process of remembering must take place off-world first. It cannot be done effectively when you're surrounded with all the negative stuff in the atmosphere that's inside Earth, inside its atmosphere. Here, you are not only protected from such influences, but free from them. This is something that is being sent out by the commander and his wife, co-commanders. And then you see the energy brighten in the atmosphere surrounding all 300 ships personnel and each one of us, including Terrellian. There is a pyramid aboard the bottom central section of this craft. It has a fountain in it, scalloped edges made of a white alabaster-like stone. There's a statue of a man standing about 6 feet tall in it, bare-chested. 2 golden bracelets on his upper arms, bronze skin, bald head, about 36, pairs 8, little white tunic dress from his waist down to his bare ankles, his hands down at his sides with his palms facing forward. There's a light coming down through the top of the statue, filling this bowl with a white golden light. This is the hue itself, a higher energy of the hue, and it moves in pulsing waves through the walls of this golden transparent pyramid that surrounds it. Now this connects to this being that exists above the void in the first realm, pure positive energy where no negative nature exists. So we're going to be surrounding this pyramid in a big chamber. And then you look up and see this beam extending out the top point of the pyramid. And Terrellian's going to move up into it, and we're moving with him, all of us. And the next instant, we come out of another statue of a white golden light coming out the top of the head of, and we're looking down on a garden. And there's this statue of this man, and his palms facing forward, a white golden light filling this white alabaster serrated edges, and it's just flowing in a glistening white golden sheet down through the floor, to the ground, surrounded by a white marble seat with 12 scrolled carved legs. And then surrounding this are 7 concentric circles deeper back of a botanical gardens. And in the distance, a long snow-covered mountain range and crystalline palace-like structures near the base. Standing out in this, on this white marble floor this statue is built up from, is this man. His name is Satnam. It just means true name. It means first sound behind creation, first omnipresent, first word. The fountain that is here is connected to the fountain in the pyramid aboard ship. So we find ourselves now around this pyramid again in this chamber in the bottom central section of the Emerald Star Cruiser. This pyramid was not built there by the Galactic Alliance. It was put there, it manifested one day, and it's part of the change taking place out in the Milky Way galaxy. And it is designed to do one thing: to end the failed experiment of good and evil and replace it with the hue expansion ray, which is a new consciousness running through that omnipresent spirit. To retire that and bring through into beings the wisdom of how to use the creative imagination, our co-creative abilities, properly with source energy. This is what this experience was about and why we went to this Emerald Star Cruiser. It isn't just about meeting people from other planets. It's much deeper and far-reaching and more permanently changing than that. And you find yourself hovering in a circle around Turelian back outside the planet Earth with its polar ice caps and its barren moon, circling the planet without turning on its axis. The yellow sun in the distance, the white golden light of the hue surrounding us, all of us as spherical beings running a perfect body form, including Turelian, Opelum, Master Ramu, and Etta and Din, who are Drens. They're on the front cover of the Emerald Doorway book and inside it, revealed in illustrations. About 3 feet long from the root of their tail to the tip of their nose, they not really look like a salamander. They're not reptilian. They have dexterous fingers and hands and 5 fingers and toes like a human, strong of build. Etta is male, Din is female, his wife. They're master teachers. They're silica-based DNA. They evolved on the planet Oceania where Opelin comes from, and they're here hovering above Turelian's shoulders. Their tail glows like bright crystal opal in sunlight, and this organic species evolved the ability to defy gravity and fly through the air. They are not from Earth. They go on these missions often. They're friends of mine. I first met them over 100,000 years ago. I trust them with my life. They're courageous to a fault. I respect them. And then you see the Earth, and you find yourself hovering in a spherical form near the ceiling by your home, looking down on your body. And what you want to endeavor to do now is you see the sphere. It's near the ceiling, and it has a toroidal field of energy around it, like the one that surrounds. You can Google it, look up toroidal field, look up the electromagnetic field around the Earth. Same kind of field exists around you as an Atma. The same kind of field exists around your body. And it's into those fields, external from the body and outside the Atma itself, that the memory and journey of this experience is stored, not in the brain. It is also stored in one of the teardrops and one of the colored layers you'll see on the front of the Emerald Doorway book. And it's through those storage of journeys that we look and remember and make contact with the hue and go on these journeys. The hue, first half of the word human, is the key to open that door. It begins the process. This flows through you, is also stored in the field around your body you call the orbit, has a different structure than what people think. And then it flows through you into the planet and out into space, and eventually it connects back to the shaft of white golden light that runs up through the center of the Milky Way galaxy, and it goes back to the source. It's like the infinity symbol that runs up and down constantly. I would say, thank the beings we met. Be grateful. They already respect your potentials. You might as well start respecting them. Whether it's Ramu, Opelum, Etta and Din, Ambassador Turelian, or the man and woman who act as guides from the Galactic Alliance, or the beings you met on the Emerald Star Cruiser, or Satnam, because they're all interconnected telepathically. We, in our natural pure state, are telepathic beings. When you're ready, open your eyes.
Thank you for a wonderful journey. Each week, each time when you go on the journey, we have different experience. You guys, you should go. on the journey second time, or you can also watch other journeys too. I will put the playlist on the video too. And for those who don't have the books, and if you want to see how Master Ramu, Master Opelam, or Ambassador Torrent look like, can go to Scotland Rail's website. You can click on the link under this video, and there you can also look at the where to buy the books too. Is very convenient. And also on the website, you can see the donation, the donation button. Donation button, we are raising the funds to get these books translated into Thai language first, and then Japanese, and then Spanish, to benefit others.
And then Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a billion Spanish people and there's hundreds of millions of people in Japan love this kind of thing, but they need it in their own language. It's about $19,000 a book to do that as a publisher. I can't put that money there. It has to come from the cooperation of others who want to have the benefit of. Right now, people have been buying those books in Thailand, putting them under their pillows and getting benefit, going on these journeys without even reading them. So it's time they were able to read them as well. Perry reads in English and Thai, and so she knows what's in them and has been a great bridge to helping people in Thailand to understand what they've been doing, where they're going, because when they're out of their bodies, they're not limited. They can talk with beings who can speak Thai to them, or they can understand other languages. As a spherical being, out of body, you can do that. So it's not a limitation, but as a publisher and an author, I want to get these books in a few other languages so that billions of people can be benefited and help bring about this transformation. It's just that simple.
Yes. Those who help donate to translate these books, you also help people to recall who they are, and also help for full disclosure to happen.
Thank you, Perry, for having the courage to do these radio shows we do. We've done hundreds of them.
Yeah.
One day, they will manifest the results of these efforts.
Thank you everyone for watching. And if you have any question, you can contact Scotland Rail through the website, right? Scott, you have the email address or that?
Well, no, they contact me through the contact page of the website, and then I can get their message and respond to them if it's rational and they're not just off their rocker, so to speak, because a lot of people are on Earth. So yeah, and then the books are available with links at the website at paralleltime.com. The links will be up on this recorded journey on Perry's YouTube channel. That's how she co-creates with me. It's not on my YouTube channel, it's on hers. So
yes, and I'd like to share with all of you before we finish this program. I wish everybody could read this book now, because I have changed so much. I have so much experience by working with Scotland Rail, by going on journeys and read these 4 books.
One thing she's not telling you, because it's my job, in the back of this book, unlike any other books on Earth, and I'm not boasting, this is a fact, there is a large special technique section at the back of this book, of this journey, with a different technique for remembering what we're made to forget, for the prologue and all 29 chapters, a different technique. And if you start working with them, going back to the chapters as instructed, then you begin to have your own experiences awakening within you about what is revealed about deliberately hidden truth in these books, because they are doorways. Okay.
And those who have the books, please read every page, even summary and glossary. My experience and remembering flowing like waterfall when I read all these books. Every single page, don't miss it, I can tell you.
There's also a glossary of characters and terms in the back of each book. Extraterrestrial names are not in English or Thai. Extraterrestrial technology described here is beyond Earth, but at least you have a reference manual to begin to understand this when you explore going on these journeys yourself. It's all in this book. So there's a glossary of characters and terms in the Parallel Time trilogy, the Emerald Doorway, Guardians of the Ancient One meaning Supreme Source, Prime Creator, and Journey to the Center of the Universe. They all have glossaries of characters and terms for your benefit.
Yes, I wish we all can understand all languages on earth because if we can communicate in one language, you know that Thai experience have so much experience from this work too. I have to thank you, Scott, and all other friends, everybody who involved in this work.
I always am grateful to you for having the courage to do this with me, and for the Thai people to have the courage to donate to get the book in Thai. It's a bestseller in a big Bangkok bookstore. I think it's owned, you said, by the Japanese. They have a lot of bookstores around the world. So if these are bestsellers on their own stand in that bookstore, which is like Barnes and Noble in the States, but big, then we get it in Japanese. It can go to the Japanese culture very easily. And we get it in Spanish. There's over 1 billion Spanish speaking people in South America. So it'll be published in a Spanish, South American form of Spanish to reach the greatest number of people. And then the books will be available and be of greater benefit to more people.
Yes, I like to mention the bookstore, the Japanese bookstore. The name is Kinokuniya. Maybe some people, Thai people who live in Japan or anybody who lives in Japan can go search from this bookstore. Kinokuniya is in Japanese in Japan.
Yeah, they may want to ask for these books, but might want to wait because they can get these books in English right now in Japan. But if they were in Japanese, it'd be a lot easier for them. Same with Spanish people. A lot of people speak English that speak other languages, but a lot of people don't. So books don't become big sellers or big. These books aren't designed to mindlessly entertain people. They're entertaining, but they're designed to help people remember what they were made to forget on many levels. And that's what they do. But they need to progress to be in other languages to make it easier for people to go on these journeys who only speak or read those languages. It's just common sense, really.
Okay, everyone, thank you for watching. Please share, thumb up, subscribe, and see you again next time.
Okay, see you next time, Perry. I will end this recording now so you can get this up on your YouTube channel.
Bye.